Good evening, everyone. This is Keith Johnson, CPA, with your Business Buzz for Tuesday. Thank God it's not Monday, January 14th, 2025. And this just breaking, let's see, I'm taping this at about 7:15 Eastern time and just breaking the last hour. Twitter owner Elon Musk, or now X, I call it Twitter X, is being sued by the SEC for failure to report his purchase of at least 5% of the shares. Of course, he bought a lot more than that of Twitter back in 2022. Timely. Now, we don't know what the SEC means about timely, but pretty much everybody knows that Elon Musk bought Twitter X. So I'm going to be very interested in seeing this. This is based on the timing of it. I think this is politically motivated. They've had 2+ years to sue him, and they haven't. But they're doing this about 5.5 days before a change of administration. So I think this is politically motivated, and I think it will be interesting to see how quick this goes away with the new administration. Personally, I think it's ticky-tack, but as more facts come out over the next few hours, overnight, tomorrow, we'll have a better picture. So I'll certainly update that tomorrow. Of course, the LA fires are still burning, and some of the smaller fires are being contained, but the problem is the larger fires in Pacific Palisades, there's still a low percentage contained, like maybe 11%. And Santa Ana winds, which started all this, started aiding the fire last week, is whipping up again, and there's a red flag warning in effect for today, the rest of today, and tomorrow. And the thing is, the northern part of the state has actually had not the abundance of rainfall over the last 2 years, but I did some looking, and northern part of the state's actually got a fair amount of rain. It's I think they were running about 130% of normal as far as precipitation. Snowpack is actually pretty good up farther north, but all of those atmospheric rivers and the Pineapple Express didn't come down to southern California, and it's dried up, and the fires have been going along pretty well. Of course, it doesn't help that they didn't save the water and prepare for it, and they didn't clean up the forests. See, that's the difference between Florida and California. I'll tell you that. Florida, whenever we have a hurricane, and we have hurricanes every year, everything is set up before the hurricane. There's, the utility crews from many states are pre-positioned, and along with generators and all the equipment, they're pre-positioned. And I've seen this, driving down the freeway. I remember bugging out from Matthew back in 2016. I remember coming back, and there were like convoys of dozens and dozens and dozens of flatbeds and trucks with generators and heavy equipment on them. We get prepared. California does not. And yeah, I'm kind of watching Governor Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass squirm. It's a lot of fun. But I am very thoughtful, and I've been praying and I will continue to pray and think about the people that did lose their homes. So, it's not a fun occasion, but it's hard to, given the lack of preparedness, to at least get a little bit of, I won't say joy, but it's interesting to see um, how the elected officials are handling that. But as far as the people go, I do hope that they get the help that they need. Um, One thing that came about in my practice yesterday was I had this client. She is uh, a lady, probably, well, she's going to turn 90 in the next couple of weeks. She's been a long time client of mine. Her family roots, are in North Dakota, and um, they've had land passed down generation to generation. And over the years, the oil companies have taken an interest, and she's been receiving some years nice royalty checks, other years not as much. But last year she sold the property, and because she got it very cheap, she wound up with a very large capital gain. And we had talked about that over the fall, and we had planned it out, and pretty much what she's going to owe the IRS is right on target. However, I did talk to her about making sure that she's planning for her health insurance, for not for this year, but for 2026. There's a thing called IRMAA, which is income related monthly adjustment amount. And what that means is if you're on Social Security and you're on Medicare Part B, and most, I would say probably 85 to 90% of my clients that have Social Security have their Medicare Part B premiums deducted automatically from their account. You can do that, that's no problem. Roughly now, I think this year it's roughly $200 a month, give or take. So anyway, but there are restrictions in getting all that. And I'll explain. You have income limits depending on what you are. So single for 2025, it's 106,000. Married filing joint is obviously double that. And if you're modified adjusted gross income, which means earned income, investment income, investments in partnerships, S corps, interest, dividends, stock gains, all that stuff. If that income exceeds that amount, what the Social Security Administration will do is they'll look at your return and they'll say, wait a second, you can afford more to pay more for your Medicare. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge you an additional amount every month. So where that $200 a month can go up to maybe $650 a month, and my client will be at the top of the tax scale. But it's a one-off thing. That's it. Next year she sold it in December of 24, 25. She'll be back to increased a little increased interest dividends, but her pension income and all that'll be pretty much the same now. So the way it works is if they work 2 years in arrears. So the client's going to file their 2024 taxes. Okay. So what's going to happen is Social Security is going to see the 2024 taxes. Of course, we're in 2025 when they're due. We file them this year. Then at the, towards the end of the year, in the fourth quarter, they're going to send out stuff on your Social Security for the 2026 year. So it's always 2 years, based on 2 years prior. And so, I told her, she's probably going to wind up paying about $400 a month or so in addition with her in her Medicare premiums. So, instead of getting $200 a month or paying $200 a month, she's going to have to pay about $650. And so, as part of the planning, I said, well, you might want to squirrel away an extra $5,000 to cover the difference in your premiums. Now, it's a 1-year thing, but in 2027, it'll go back to what it was. I've had this a couple other times, and usually it's with people who have had, they've sold houses, rental houses, or some kind of property. So the thing is, if you're on Medicare Part B and you have it deducted from your Social Security, which is totally normal, like I said, probably 90% of people do, I would recommend you sit down with your tax advisor and ask him or her about IRMAA, and just make sure that and do this if you're contemplating selling an asset, and if you think that you're going to incur a large capital gain or something like that, I would definitely do that, so you're not going to get shocked, because if you're not ready for it when that letter comes October, November, saying, hey, you're going to have to pay several $100s more in Medicare per month in Medicare premiums for next year, that's a shock. So yeah, definitely, if you're considering, if you're on Medicare Part B, consider the increased premiums if you are selling assets. Okay. So tomorrow, what we're going to do, we're going to have an update on the SEC case against Twitter X and Elon Musk. We'll talk a little bit more about taxes, because we're only 13 days now away from the starter's gun on the 24 tax season. So anyway, this is Keith Johnson. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to build the channel, and slowly but surely we'll get there, but we can't do it without your help. So if you like it, please like and subscribe, and have a good evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.